All right, about Ron Perlman's voice. So I'm sitting directly across from him at lunch, and he's eating these Chinese and bitching about the Mets. And I said, I asked him, you know, and I've got my sketch pad right here, and I'm sketching the different facial expressions I'm seeing. And I said, Vincent's voice, I mean, it's close to your normal speaking voice, but how exactly did you find it? And he was quite tired. At that point, Ron was staying in makeup about 18 hours a day or more. And they were, when I was on the set, they were shooting 2 episodes at the same time. The Winterfest, and then the other episode that had the dogs in it. I think it was the piano. Yeah, the piano concerto and everything. So they were doing those too, and so he kind of said, well, you know, I never really thought about it. You know, it's just kind of like when the makeup goes on, that's the voice that comes out. You can't really do anything else. And I said, well, in Quest for Fire, have you seen Quest for Fire?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he amazing in Quest for Fire? I mean, that's the guy I want guarding my back if I'm in war. That was a warrior. And I said, well, did you know Vincent's voice came out of you in Quest for Fire? And he went, no shit. And I said, yes, towards the end when the little guy gets eaten by the bear, and Ron's character is sort of comforting him. If you go back and fast forward through the movie to that scene, you will hear Vincent's voice comforting this wounded character. And so Ron was kind of, you know, amazed by that. But it was just, you know, again, going back to talking about voices, I think that, well, this is a question I would ask you. Does the costume help you make the voice, or did the voice come first?
Well, the costumes frequently have much to do with how everything happens. And on Beauty and the Beast, the costumes were extraordinary. And Judy's work was everything that a designer should bring to costuming. Not only the character, but the context in which they lived. The leather patches on the elbows and so forth. You know, I said to her, I asked her about that, and she said, well, you'd be digging tunnels and crawling through them, and your elbows would wear out if there wasn't more protection. And I thought, this woman is thinking this through. And they would give me tools to use and so forth, and there would be so many props. One day they were handing me so many props, I was like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with these. And I looked down and there are all these ropes and leather strings hanging from me, and so I could tie the tools to the ropes and carry them that way, which is something that Judy knew before I ever figured it out. And so that's a fairly brilliant person who's thinking things through that well. And yes, you put on the costume, and for me in particular, the shoes. The shoes, for me, are like a huge deal. I actually kind of wound up having to quit a movie once because they tried to make me wear the wrong shoes. But I kept trying to say, you don't understand. They thought I was being difficult, sort of. And what I was saying is, if I wear those shoes, I can't play the character that I've been playing, because it's basically the shoes I'm wearing is my work. I picked out the shoes and I put them on and I'm in character, and if I put on other shoes, I'm not so I had tried to wear the shoes they wanted, and
So you're literally standing in someone's shoes.
literally standing in someone's shoes. Absolutely, that's absolutely it. And with Mouse wore the boots, and I never wore boots, and so putting on Mouse's boots, well, the costumes in general was such a thing. I mean, it took a staff of highly trained professionals a good 45 minutes on some occasions to just dress us, because you couldn't put on your own clothes. There were too many things being tied around, and then they had to throw dirt at me for 15 or 20 minutes and then follow me around with a bag on a stick to shake more dirt. And so it was very complicated, and it brought you in here every single time. And I'm sure that with a makeup like Ron's, that would be even more intrinsic to the process, because gee, he would have a 5-hour process just into the makeup. And so I'm sure he would slip very slowly into the character. And when the things are in place like that, the makeup and the hair, and let's not forget those sets and the lights, it makes your acting work very, very easy, because so much of it's done for you. You don't have to convince yourself of things, because they're there and they're true and they're logical. And that's what I want to say about the costumes. When I first saw them, they were illogical. And Judy was actually dead on.